What's up there, ladies? So does anyone remember where we were? Because I have a vague notion, but not an exact notion.
Where we absolutely left? Yes. Finn feeling extraordinarily defeated. Lyric was consoling him as best as possible, like, we'll get through this. Penny was dealing with the after effects of plotting an escape for her abusive son, and the sinners as a whole were just sitting their way through existence.
Sweet.
Of course, that's only the broad strokes.
That is more than enough.
I know that Noble had brought up to me, since it had been an issue in play, and I don't want to retcon or anything, but you guys had decided that Finn had made Penny's mask, so he should know that JJ was Penny.
Yeah, Finn made her mask, but didn't know, without retconning going backwards, he didn't know who she was before. It didn't matter to him at that time who anyone was. It was, okay, I need this. Okay, well, cool. I got the money. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's get you who you're going to be going forward. And during play, what he'd been doing over the course of these last few seasons was developing and coming to grips with a sense of ethics, not just because you can't do a thing, not in outright revolt against the morality and ethics of his parents and his sire and her whole schismatic thing here in the US. Like, none of that really appealed to him. He actually was the stereotypical rebel without a cause and revolting against the ethics and ethoses that he had been being taught. It was all of the supernatural mumbo jumbo from his grandmother and his mother and his father, who are part of the actual Vodun religion, and then he dies anyway by someone else's decision. So he was in revolt over that. And then his sire, having played the long con and not just been a Asamite but an actual child of Hakim, that felt like a betrayal. Like, yeah, I don't give a fuck that he's older than Christ and Christianity. That feels like even more of a betrayal, because Vodun for so long has been syncretized with Catholicism. So there's always that double speak, and from the outside they look like Catholics, but they have been practicing for decades this secret religion underneath everyone's face, and they were hiding and wearing masks. So of course, like a stupid idiot teenager, he'd been rebelling that whole time. So he didn't know or care who she was. It was the money, it was the skill, it was the art. Hey, look what I could do, blah blah blah. And now it's him coming to grips with growing a conscience or growing a sense of ethics and morality. It's the reason behind his soft play during the season 1, where he was joking about things that were actually on his mind. He was, haha, so what's your traumatic backstory? and that was the build up to the season's end. And during season 2, he had been indentured for atonement to his sire and her blood husband. And then in season 3, it's actually serious. Like, he's no longer joking about, I need to know, I need to understand, I need you to tell me where we stand, because he's all in on his burgeoning ethics, which is the schism there. It's the reason why he's always been mentioning, you don't like answering questions, do you? You're not telling me anything. You ha 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 ha. And then season 3 rolls around and he's actually serious about it. He's been serious this whole time, but that was the soft pitch. That was the slow build up to, yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. I'm not just doing what I can. I'm doing what I will, because this is his developing ethics, his developing morality, doing the right thing, even if it's at a cost. Did I talk you guys around in circles on that?
A little bit.
I try to be thorough, so sometimes it comes out like just so much of this, that, and the other.
It's all right. I don't mind party fractures. I'm just trying to repair it from being a permanent party fracture.
No, it's just where he is, and it's not to the point where he's going to take direct antagonistic action. It's a betrayal of trust as far as his developing ethics and morality are concerned, but that's to be expected. People are shit.
That they are. Lyric, how you feeling after your dentistry adventure?
It's definitely better that it's done. It's definitely better that the tooth is removed, but then usually the way my pain is set up, it's always the thing that hurts the most to feel. And then once that's taken care of, the other things that are wrong pop up. So now the other side is, hey, so since it's my turn, right? And I'm always slow to heal on certain things. The needle holes or whatever where he stuck the Novocaine in still fucking hurt. So I'm dealing with it though. It is what it is. I'm used to it. I'm a chronic pain sufferer, so it's like, what's hurting today, basically.
I was getting ready to get in the shower this morning when the tornado siren started.
Oh, you guys hit that late?
It was like 5 a.m., a little before 5.
Yeah, no, they started here last night right about 8:30. Not that there's any siren close, but there's a app you could track storm fronts, and so it lets you know that the warnings are in effect.
I shrugged and figured I was getting in the shower. We're a second floor apartment. That's the safest place in our apartment anyway, so.
At least you guys didn't have to share the shower.
I think everyone else slept through it. I have regular.
It wasn't like. Sorry. I was gonna say, when I grew up, my grandma, whenever there was this thunderstorm, she would make us shut off everything in the house. Like, we would let her sit in the dark with everything unplugged. She was still scared of lightning hitting her house.
Like I've said since we've moved back here, I'll take earthquakes over tornadoes any day.
Nah, I don't want either one. Because bad earthquakes are life-changing. Bad tornadoes, they're life-changing too, but I don't know, you just get accustomed to them. The idea of them.
Yeah, but with an earthquake, the ground shakes and it's done. With a tornado, it turns left, it turns right, it doubles back, it goes up, it goes down. Who knows what the fuck it's going to do? You know where you stand with an earthquake.
Yeah, you don't.
And they're not that bad. I mean, some of them are real bad, but most of them are just, nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I like my Midwestern insanity. There's levels to this.
Anyhow, speaking of insanity, even though it has been a couple of weeks since we played, I don't have any sort of monologue that I can stumble through prepared. So I will start with we are season 3, episode 6, I believe, which I have decided to just call Thicker Than. So when last we left, I believe everyone had just woken for the evening. They had split into 2 groups, which they've been in for a while, which was Finn and Lyric on one end, and Penny by herself on the other. I believe everyone was at a haven. I think Lyric and Finn were at one of Finn's havens, and Penny was at her own. If that sounds correct to everybody.
Sounds about right.
So, with all that taken into consideration, I know that Penny had met with Raffi about her haunting problem. Lyric and Finn had had some heartfelt conversations. Where exactly does anyone plan to go with their evening?
Did we have anything we needed to tie up the day before? I know we did as to that guy built.
That was a bad robot. I'm sorry. As far as the day before, I don't. They pretty much hit a dead end for the most sorts of doing their end around. From what I remember, because we found what's his face is the Ventru's child, and not him. Trust is at an all-time low in regards of opportunities. So Finn is gathering himself. Yeah, there's as far as I'm aware, as far as Finn is aware, right this moment, there's not all that much immediately available. Marlena has been a dead end for an end around for gaining protection. His sire hasn't gotten back to him, and Wise Frog is inscrutable. So, what do you think we should do? Got a couple of things percolating, but nothing's reached temp yet.
Okay, to make sure that the robot thing doesn't happen, I'm thinking spot on, so I'll give that a set. But what I was saying is we
What?
Welcome back.
there we go. That should be better, so I don't have to worry about the robot thing. So yeah, we were talking about the guy that we, set up his wife with the date and then killed him and stuff. Are we gonna do anything tied to that, or are we good and done with that?
The wife is going to discover him in due time, I suspect. So,
Well, we're having some technical difficulties. Penny, did you have a plan?
I think they had resolved it.
So, testing, testing, testing.
Maybe it's me. Is anyone there?
Indeed, I am.
I hear people.
I can hear him.
So Discord is gonna do what Discord does and interrupt temporarily. Welcome back.
There we go. I can hear people now. I saw things lighting up, but I couldn't hear anything.
Man, that's not fun.
That's crazy talk.
All right. So, Penny, did you have a plan?
The immediate plan is to go check her messages and then find a new place to call home for the meanwhile.
All right. So, Penny is going to her answering machine, and who is a person, and checking Zillow. Is Lyric back?
Yep.
Sweet.
Finn was saying that the wife would find the guy in due time, so I guess there was something after that.
Yeah, we
But I
just want to
don't
make
know what
sure
it
that
was
we
yet.
were. We just want to make sure that we were in the clear in regards to that. We should be, but never can tell with these particular things. Luckily, you know, the population of Manhattan alone is enough to make the idea of chasing down a particular needle almost impossible.
Okay, so in that case, I don't have any further ideas as to what you want to do tonight. I know kind of hit a couple dead ends yesterday, and I don't know where that leaves us. But
We need to speak with either your sire or mine. Your sire, of course, you have the more conflicted relationship with, so we don't want to put her over a barrel or come with our hat in our hands. And unfortunately, similar for my own sire, we don't want to go with our hat in our hands. It's like trying to get a loan. You can never get a loan when you really need it, but you can get a loan any other time of the year.
so, do we want to cloak it in some sort of happy news or something? We can come up with something and see if maybe that'll sweeten the pot and say, hey, meanwhile, while we're here telling you this news, there's this other thing.
Well, we can go figure out which of the buildings across from the Central Park is where our good friend and resident asshole does his business out of. Maybe we can catch him or someone else entering or exiting that we can speak with.
Are we talking about the Nosferatu or Edwards?
Edwards. Remember your sire informed us that he was doing business directly across the street from their hole up there in Central Park.
And that's not the building we went to last night. That's a different building?
Yes, it's a different building. The other building was...
Alright, then I'm good with that. Let's go see. I mean, we don't want to go look at it. I mean, we know he's still missing or possibly still missing, so, but yeah, sure. Let's go do that. And she will hop up and go get freshened and put clothes on and be ready to go.
We've got our walking papers.
All right. Penny, you check your messages. There is nothing pressing. I assume mostly you were looking for a message from either your coterie or from Raffi.
Yeah, or anyone, really. But if it's nothing pressing, then perfect. She will head out to the little cafe across the street and sit down and, peek through some real estate ads.
All right, so we will keep that in mind. Finn and Lyric, you step outside of the haven. You are greeted by a long town car sitting on the curb and a Middle Eastern gentleman leaning against it who straightens up as he sees Finn walk out. And then he just opens the door to the car. You are familiar with this gentleman because you know that he works for your sire.
You know, Avi, it's bad form for you to be waiting outside of a place like this. Your lower property values. Rick, this is Avi. He's the, how would you say that, Avi? What would you say you are to, Noor?
A valued employee.
Yeah. Rick, looks like we're taking the ride. We'll have to circle back to it, which is domicile, if you're up for it.
Lyrics kind of taking this guy in, looking him up and down, like trying to puzzle him out, but then she kind of nods. Yeah, okay. And slides herself into the limo like a pro.
Finn digs through his flash cash and pulls off a couple of bills and stuffs it into Avi's hand as in a shake. As per, you should always tip. Showing gratitude through cash is always the most direct. Thank you for your value, Avi.
Of course, sir, of course. Then he will close the door behind you as you get in, and he will go get in the driver's seat. The car itself is, of course, rather well appointed, if understated. It's just kind of your typical off-the-lot sort of car. Generally, the people who ride in it don't have much need for amenities like wet bars or snacks or any of that sort of thing.
Yeah, after all, who is she trying to impress? We've all know what she is, know who she is for the most part. It's funny, don't you think, Rick? You know how your parents have entire existences before you come into being, and you very seldomly get the true lore of how they got where they are. I always feel that way when thinking about her, the way that she can just pop up whenever she wants and all of this shit here. So forgive me if I'm a little sullen.
Well, it wouldn't be a trip to your parents' house without pouting on the way, so. I guess it's true to form.
I believe that's hitting the nail right on the head. Hey, Avi, which location are we heading towards?
He will tell you, because I don't know. But it will be one of her auxiliary havens, not her primary one, and not a front that she does business at, but an actual place that she uses for less business-like sort of things.
Oh. Either she discounted the fact that you were here, or you are officially part of the family.
As you well know, good service is well rewarded.
Most times. there is a vibrational difference to Finn. As much as he speaks what's on his mind emotionally, the truth of it is that even when despising the idea of what he is and what they all are as a community, even when rebelling openly, there was still very much in action and deed the respect of what came before. So yeah, he talked shit and do whatever he could when they weren't around, but in point of fact, there very much was still the grousing and complaining, but still getting the job accomplished.
So traffic is light, almost a little too light for the time of night, but not disconcertingly so. The car pulls into an underground garage of a condo building. You are shown to the elevator. He tells you that you know where you're going, so he does not escort you. And you are left to your own devices, assuming you go straight there. It's a condo a couple floors up. One of two such domiciles on that floor. You enter or knock or whatever. It's understated, kind of like the car, but nice enough. Definitely not slumming it. And then you enter the condo itself and are greeted by your sire. Tell us about your sire, Finn.
In a nutshell, open charm and very deceitful logic. She's devious, always looking at the angles of attack. She's one of the few people who understand that a smaller force can only beat a larger force by taking out the heart. A student of war and how to circumvent it, and indirect constant assault on anything that stands in the way of her own ethics. Very charming, very hospitable, but at the end of the day, it is, as she has instructed Finn on several occasions, always a matter of war. Every nation that exists and maintains itself through the blood of warfare. It would be ridiculous to assume that any of that has changed, no matter how much propaganda is pushed to the general public. That very much is how every entity maintains itself, and to do anything else than that is foolishness.
So she stands as you enter, with her arms crossed. Clearly, Avi is called up to her. She's dressed fairly simply, and kind of gives you a slow smile as you enter. She looks over at Lyric. I don't know if this is the first time they've met.
It isn't. She was there at the shop when Lyric came for him. They've met since. Noor is anything and everything except for what you expect. So, woman to woman, and an understanding of who Lyric is has weighed on her because of Lyric's presence. Finn has not quite embraced, but has begun embracing the potential she saw in regards to his ethical understanding and dealing with the world at large.
You kind of get the feeling that would be similar to a mom who's only had boys and watching her son find a girlfriend for the first time. That kind of like, I'm gonna have to watch this bitch so she don't take my boy from me. There's a little bit of that probably.
She smiles at the pair of you, and speaks. I would assume she has an accent, but I'm not going to attempt it. She's... What's that?
A small one.
Yeah. So, she says, Miss Lyric, was it?
Yep, you remembered. It's correct. How's your evening?
Oh, it's been fine thus far. She steps forward, and reaches out for Finn's hands with each of hers, says, and my child.
Noah, always. You sent Avi for us and brought us here. So I'm thinking that there's something specific, or you have finally found a way for us to be out from underneath everybody else's thumb.
Oh, wish that were true. But I understand that you've been making some inquiries.
Inquiring minds want to know, Noah, and you, just as you've instructed, information changes everything. And unfortunately, what information has changed is that we are on the out with any possible way to maneuver. We are stymied, roadblocked, and otherwise cut off because of things beyond our control, beyond our approach, and at your behest for the most part, because you did send me to deal and comport with Edwards.
Yes, I can't help but feel a little responsible for your predicament. That's why I have perhaps found a solution for you.
For me or for you?
Well, for you, my child. This isn't troubling me so much, other than your unfortunate involvement.
And what would you suggest, Noah?
Familiar with a man named Kaiser?
Familiar? No, not so much. Heard one or two things, maybe three or four.
Well, if you're interested, I have arranged a meeting with him. He may be able to answer many of your questions. He is, as you may have heard, the foremost rumor monger on our little island here.
But is that such a good thing? Throwing ourselves back out there on the market into a way that we don't have a good true north. If you think that's the best idea and you can make an arrangement, of course I am as ever at your service to help ourselves. But are you sure? This is not another Edward situation, is it? Where we'll be lied to, deceived, misled, and maligned.
He stands by his product, obviously. As for the rest of it, I know that he has indicated that there is something that he will want in return. And of that, I cannot speak. But as far as the information that you were given, I would consider it to be as accurate as possible.
Yeah, it's the quantifiers that always do you in. Any chance Al's gonna give us a lift tour?
That could be arranged. I just need to make a call and put the final arrangements. He's a busy man. He wasn't going to wait around at a location for you to show up or not.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
I am calling in a favor on your behalf, which I'm asking nothing for. I just hope that perhaps it will be, in some small way, a recompense for the trouble that has fallen on you since the last favor that you have done me.
Thank you for your hospitality, Noel.
Of course, I always have time for my child. So I shall set the meat then?
Yeah, that'd probably be best.
Says I will get right on that. You're welcome to stay if you wish, or if you'd like, Avi can take you. I will make sure that he is given the address.
Taking a quick glance towards Rick, then back. Yeah, I think that Avi should probably give us a lift.
She smiles kind of slyly and says, I figured that would be your desire. So, by all means, do the two of you come visit me sometime, though. Be wonderful to get to know your little paramour here.
You know, adverbs and adjectives make the definition of the words, Noel. Thank you so very much for the administration and repayment. And we will do everything we can to visit as often as is suitable. We wouldn't want to overburden you with our presences.
Of course not. We're all busy these nights.
Linking his arm through
Rick.
lyrics to guide her away. We'll be seeing you.
Rick had stood there the most of this whole interaction, just kind of softly smiling and keeping a hand kind of on Finn out of view. But then when the whole little paramour thing happened, the smile kind of drifted for a minute. And so when Finn loops his arm through hers and kind of pulls her away, there's a little bit of a resistance. Not like she's really fighting with him about it, but she's just kind of like, did she just say what I think she said? Kind of like that hesitation. And following him back to the elevator.
Live to fight every other day, every other night. It is a testament that you have mattered enough to come to our attention. I certainly didn't for years because of me being a little shit. This, of course, is said in the elevator down, not where they were within easy earshot.
Yeah, the building itself is just a normal sort of condominium building. It's not a place that she stays. Now, whatever might have been installed, of course, is questionable. But for the most part, it's just kind of a normal building. So other than there being the black and white hallway security camera just to see if, someone broke into an apartment there or whatever. But then it wouldn't even have sound. It would just be video. So, obviously, other than her listening at the door or anything, you probably feel reasonably secure once you're in the elevator that you're all right. The elevator will go back to the parking level. Avi will be there waiting for you. He will show you to the car. He'll hold the door open to say that he's waiting to get an address from someone to for where they're going to take you, but if there's somewhere you would like to go, or perhaps he could drive through the park, or whatever would be interesting to you guys.
Well, we're just waiting to get the location for Kaiser. And again, same handshake, same peeled a few bills as they climb in. He opens the door and, don't worry about it, Ivy, I got this. You get us where we need to go. And again, thank you for your efforts.
Of course, sir. And he will start the car and head out to the street. Penny, you said shopping for a place to stay. Of course, there is plenty of real estate available in Manhattan. It is all expensive, overpriced even, because it is Manhattan. The beautiful thing of living in New York, it is full of eccentric people who keep all kinds of odd hours. So it will be very doable for you to get a realtor after dark, but obviously not on, a minute's notice.
That is just fine. She's on those silly little applications they have. Just found 2 or 3 that she likes already. So just have to find someone and do some business. Meanwhile, she will just continue sitting there while she's making calls.
All right. Well, it is fairly quiet at the cafe because it is after hours. As far as, dinner and whatnot, there will be a small rush later on of the post-bar crowd, but other than that, it is fairly quiet. No one immediately comes in to bother you.
She will, keep an eye at the door just in case, but, for the most part, she is content to be nice and quiet.
All right, so Lyric and Finn, who have a thing going on, are driven to the Battery Park area, and they are in a sort of rougher neighborhood. They are pulled over across the street from a limousine, and Avi looks back at you guys and says, "This is the place."
Doesn't necessarily speak of the imminent degrees of Manhattan, but, it takes all kinds, I suppose. Thank you, Avi, is what I'm trying to say, the very long way around.
Of course, sir. Says my instructions are to drop you and leave, so I will be looking forward to our next meeting.
Yeah, so will we.
Everyone says with a smile and biting their tongue. He gets out and opens the door for you guys. And as you guys slide out of the car, the limousine on the other side of the street, the door opens. And it just sits open. You don't see anyone there. You do kind of see the soft glow of light from screens reflecting off the seat.
What do you know, Rick? I take you to the nicest of places, right? Shall we go speak with the man, the myth, the monster, or you want to make a run for it? I hear that it's not as bad as they say over in Jersey.
Can't get my hair that high. We're gonna have to do it this way.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Motioning and following behind. Offering a hand to help Rick slide in first and step in and pull the door closed behind me. Bracing myself for the truth of the many rumors about the Quasimodo-like existence of Kaiser.
So you slide into the car. After you get into the seat back there, you are in a stretch limo. The sides and the front of the back end are just covered in screens, all sorts of things displaying news channels, surveillance cameras, computer screens with data flashing across them. And in a chair, amidst all of these things, is a figure who turns and looks at you, and Quasimodo might have been an appropriate description. And he kind of smiles a semi-rictus grin at you. It says, "Ah, Mr. Finn and Miss Lyric."
That's definitely one way to say it. I suppose that you are Kaiser. So
I am. I understand that you have many questions.
Several hundred. But you know the problem with questions. You gotta know the right ones to ask to get your real value. So here's us. I'm sure you are already aware of our particular situation. If you were in our shoes, looking for a way to not be rolled over by the entirety of the system, and not knowing whom or what to trust, is there something that we should definitively know so that we can find our way, a handhold, a foothold, a way to build our defenses for the sheer unmitigated metric ton of shit that's been raining down on us socially?
He crosses his legs in his chair and steeples his fingers in front of him. It says, "Well, that would all depend on which direction you wish to climb."
We need assurances. We need insurances. We need forces unmitigated. We need allies. We need, as you can see, quite a bit that we need, that we would never be able to repay as we sit presently, but could potentially earn. The way that we choose, or the way that I choose, and I'm speaking out of turn here because we are a partnership here, but a way to insulate ourselves from both and either Edwards and Cunterling Birch.
As I had assumed, if you wish to crawl or pull yourself, he wouldn't have said crawl, if you wish to pull yourself in that particular direction, then I can advise you of some people who have an enemy of both of them as well. I can tell you that if the rumors are true, they're unsubstantiated at this point, that Edwards may be out of play.
Yeah, but how long before someone else takes his role? Someone else takes his position. Someone else plays us for the fool. And until there is a body, no one's ever really dead.
Yeah, that's the thing about us. Is there ever really a body?
In our hearts.
As I said, it's just a thing I heard. I wouldn't sell it as the truth, but it is the word amongst my kind that he may be no longer a factor in this little holy war that they've decided to enact across Manhattan. I understand that Birch is beholden to some of you, he says as he looks at Lyric.
Possibly. But what could I possibly ask her for that she would actually do? I can't say, hey, as my favor, why don't you get lost?
Probably not. I mean, you could, but to limited success. There's always a reason to come back into your own life, after all. So if I were to point you to a neutral party, would that be of value to you?
It's not a fair question. Everything's of value. Our successes vary, of course, and right now, stymied though we are, everything has value. That changes that. Any motion is good motion when you have no motion. For the price of a favor, for the price of an honest favor, the effort that your information provides is the effort that we will return to you with interest. And by we, I'm solely speaking for me. My partner has the opportunity of either helping me repay my debt to you or incurring something else. I'm not going to ever put her over a barrel. You understand?
I would expect no less. I can put you not in touch, but on the path of someone who also considers these two to be a common enemy. You are looking for allies, correct? Someone who may be able to provide you with a bit of security should this war turn its eyes to you.
That's a good way to be, yes.
I can tell you for free that many of my kind, the sewer rats as we are called, have no interest in being involved in this. As we are reputed, we sell information to both sides, and I don't think anyone would expect any less of us, or any more of us, depending on your personal perspective.
Save your guy who tried to cave in my skull. The guy who was working to act as security for Edwards vicariously, and the cousin of yours that sought to sabotage, keep an eye on, snoop on the lost child of Miss Birch. That is definitively more than being neutral, especially being as one of the other members of your illustrious clan also worked and operated as security for one of Miss Birch's ventures. As far as we could tell, most of your clan are actually working for Birch.
Many among my clan are mercenary. He turns around and clicks on a keyboard for a moment, and then one of the screens flickers and changes, and you recognize some surveillance video from outside Chaz's apartment.
Hey, look at that. That's Chaz's place, huh?
And as the man who was there before you walks in the screen, he freezes it, and he taps on the screen and says, "That is one of mine. That is Bartleby. I believe you've met him."
I believe we have. Not to say that we enjoyed it any.
He tells me that he was merely paid to unlock that door. He doesn't know by whom exactly. It was a third party.
Of course, you gotta have your cutouts. So Edwards hired him to unlock the door. So what, to frame us for taking the fall? As he did? So that Birch would be distracted by us instead of going after him?
So it would seem, but I have not spoken to Edwards, so I cannot confirm such a thing.
Would you if you could?
If I could, of course. Accurate information is always worth more than speculation.
So, Kaiser,
But
I know you're a
since-
busy man.
He nods at you.
So, your best guess of accurate information, this individual that's neutrally minded and considers both Birch and Edwards a blight on our community. Do they have any practical business ethics to maintain an alliance of potential fruitfulness down the line, or are they more, as you say, mercenary?
Well, I fear that I don't know a whole lot about them personally, but I do know that they have a vested interest in neither side winning, in both sides losing, from what I am told. Because who can say whether something like that is true or not? But if you are looking for an ally who is not going to be bought by either one of them, this seems like your best course.
Okay. Not to say that I'm sold, but I am sold. Where's this particular person?
I understand that they can be found in Brooklyn. I do know an intermediary that I could put you in touch with that may be able to set up the meeting. The person in question is rather reclusive.
I see. Well, Rick, you know I jump off a building to have the opportunity of properly avenging what I see as my honor. Do you think this is worth the effort and time?
Well, if there's actually somebody that's willing to take action, even though they're neutral and not wanting either side to win, that's kind of all we really need. The biggest problem we're having is everybody's saying they're staying the fuck out of it. Nobody's wanting to at least make any sort of effort. So, again, if this person is willing to, while being neutral, at least take some sort of action, it's a chance we should probably take.
So there we are, Kaiser. My favor to yours, effort for effort with interest. Whom is this particular person?
The intermediary? Well, I could put them in touch. Where would you like them to meet you?
Wow, that is a very, very there's a spot, a location. I don't know. I don't know if you've because you don't eat, or you stay on top of these things. But there's a location not far from Baxter Street. It's called House of Joys, dim sum place. It is absolutely delicious. Just off of Pell, down past Doyers. So I figured we'd meet there in relatively neutral territory, because after all, no one goes that way, right? So it's easy to get in. You can get on and out via the Bowery or Worth Street. Hell, you can even take Mulberry technically, but that's just the one way. You don't want to do that. Lock yourself in. But anyway, we can meet there. We can take in the lovely, delicious aroma of dim sum, and we blend in with all the other tourists.
Now asking is the storyteller, is that Frog's place?
No, it's around the corner from this place. Down 2 blocks over, technically.
Okay, just was curious. Says absolutely. And would you like to do this tonight?
I would love to do this tonight.
Very well. I will see that it is done. Now, for my end of the bargain.
Of course.
I understand that you have some dealings with Miss Sadie.
I would not like to dissuade you of that, but remember, your information is only valuable if it's true. We know of the particular young woman.
Well, I was led to believe that you, or perhaps a comrade of yours, had some sort of relationship with her.
This is true.
I need something delivered to her abode, not to her specifically.
You're not gonna firebomb a place, are you?
Oh, nothing like that. The traditions must be observed, after all.
Okay, so how can we help? You just like to have something delivered to Miss Sadie?
Exactly.
And it's not immediately volatile enough to cause a response that we would be volatile, to say the least. Right?
It's a thing that if you were caught with, you would have no problems. Maybe a question or two, depending on who caught you. But you would not have any problems with the authorities, be them ours or the mortals.
Just socially questionable, not illegal. Okay, this is well within the pale.
Let's just say that a client of mine owes Sadie a debt, and he would like to repay it by having a thing delivered to her abode. You could just leave it anywhere.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Where is this thing, and how heavy is it?
It's not very heavy, about the size of a briefcase. In fact, I believe it is a briefcase.
Okay, then will you...
I will have it brought to you at the same location, if that's amenable.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
2 birds with 1 stone. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I think we have a deal. He leans forward and extends his hand.
Returns the favor, shakes on it.
He's extra clammy.
Yeah, I expected as much. At least it's not that slightly slimy, papery scent. That dry but extraordinarily moist and damp. There's no crinkling edges like pages left lying in rainwater. That I don't enjoy. The clammy, people get nervous. It's in fact quite funny mentally to envision him as a nervous person who is just suffering from hyperhidrosis. It makes looking at him a little bit easier.
So as you guys have been talking, the car has been moving. It rides very smooth, so other than looking out the super dark tinted windows, it's kind of hard to tell that you're moving. Not too long after you shake his hands, just a couple seconds in fact, the car stops. He nods at you and says, well, it was a pleasure doing business. I look forward to many other repeated transactions in the future.
As do I. If this works out.
He gives you a kind of dissettling smile, which you can't help because that's just his face. And he turns around and goes back to clacking on the computer and looking at his various screens.
Rick, I believe this is our stop.
Looks like. So as they get out, she'll follow him out, shutting the limo door behind her. You know, always wondered what it'd be like to be like celebrities getting in and out of limousines in one night. It's kind of boring, a little overdone. I don't think we need to do it again.
I'm with you on that. Not like the RTA.
So you guys find yourself stepping out into the night in Little Italy. However, you are right at a subway station, or to the entrance to a subway station anyway.
Okay.
And in fact, if you're going to Chinatown, Little Italy is rather close to that, so you could even walk it if you wanted to.
Yeah, better to probably walk it. We got time. It's only 9-10 minutes if we go slow. We can take Mulberry down and around. Unless, of course, you want to get on the train and see if we can lose anybody.
Meh. I'd rather take a slow walk. And there's one of those little temples. I know there's like some sort of festival coming up soon. Probably you might want to pop by.
So you do receive a little attention as you start to walk because you did just get out of a limousine. But people get over it quickly and don't seem to pay you a lot of mind. And at that, as we move to Chinatown on foot, and we'll go back to figure out what Penny is doing. But first, it is 10:28, so it seems like maybe an appropriate time to take our break.
Indubitably.
So I'll see everybody back in about 10.
Good deal.
Sounds good.
I am here. Is anyone back?
See.
I'm back.
But are you really?
You could be side.
No, usually it's down, but I try to be up.
That's all any of us can do. So, as Finn and Lyric walk to Chinatown, we find ourselves looking at Penny, who is going through real estate listings on her phone or in the paper or in some manner.
Probably the paper.
As you are sitting there reading, you hear kind of a crash of the door being pushed open and some loud, boisterous voices. You look up, and it's a bunch of kids dressed all in black, look like they're up to no good. But one of them, holding a cigarette awkwardly, looks rather familiar to you.
Oh, do they now?
They do. You're not sure what she's doing in this part of town, but that looks suspiciously like your granddaughter.
Oh, Georgia, what will we ever do with you?
Takes you a minute to be sure. She's wearing way too much makeup and skimpy clothing. But yep, that's definitely her.
Well then, Tracy, this fancy meeting you here. She will just watch the kids for the moment.
As a group of 3 boys and 2 girls, the other girl looks to be about George's age. The boys look maybe a little older. They all take a seat at the counter and are being loud and boisterous. They order some coffees, and you see one of the boys pull a flask out of his jacket when the waitress walks away and starts pouring into the coffees.
Well, that's just no good. Penny will fold up her newspaper and tuck it under her arm and walk over to the counter as though she's about to pay for her stuff, banking on the fact that there's probably pictures of her still up in the house somewhere.
That is quite possible. One of the boys, well, you don't see it, but a napkin comes flying your way, and then they all kind of try to stifle their laughter.
Penny will look over in their direction and look over all of them.
They kind of pointedly look away, though your granddaughter does a quick double take.
I will pick up the napkin and walk a few steps over between her and probably one of the gentlemen. I believe you dropped this, my dear.
She says, thanks. They kind of giggle.
To give my regards to your parents. They still own that auto shop, correct?
She jaw kind of drops open. She kind of squints her eyes at you a little bit. You look familiar. Do you know my dad?
Oh, we were toddlers together.
Like a cousin? You look a lot like my grandma.
Well, how could that be? She's been dead for several years.
You know my grandma?
Once upon a time when I was but a child.
She waves her hands at the kids to shut them up. Are you like my aunt or something?
Cousin would be more accurate.
How come I've never met you before? Are you stalking me?
No, I live nearby. I'm here quite frequently.
What a weird coincidence. I'll have to tell my dad that I saw you here if I ever see him again.
Oh? What's happening, my dear? She'll lean forward.
He left home and I haven't seen him.
Well, that just won't do, will it? Would you happen to have a phone number I could reach him at? Maybe I can set him straight.
I mean, I don't really know you. I don't know if I want to. And she thinks about it for a minute and then basically says, fuck it, and pulls out her phone and writes down on a napkin with eyeliner his phone number.
She will smile. It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Georgia.
She, again, squints at you.
You should make your way home. Your mother will be worried.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. She kind of shrinks back against the counter a little bit.
And perhaps a mint to disguise the smell of the liquor. And she will look at the young man with the flask.
They're all pointedly minding their own business, quietly leaned over their coffees, patently not looking at you.
You will go back to the counter to pay, and she will graciously put the coffees of these young people on her tab and leave.
If you'd like to give me a quick wits and awareness.
Would taking half do it? I have a 7 pool.
It would. The kids kind of talk to themselves, but Georgia snaps a picture or two of you on her phone.
Delightful. She'll pause for a second. Oh, darling, that is hardly my best side. She'll drop a wink and leave.
All right. Georgia watches you go. The rest of the kids kind of start laughing.
Go and pop around the corner to a little darkened area and meld into the shadows and wait for them to leave.
As you are waiting, you see your granddaughter kind of come out, look up and down the street, and she's out there for a minute or two. She lights up a cigarette, and then she's about halfway through it, looking up and down the streets and filing through something on her phone as the rest of them come out, followed by the manager yelling at them. Meanwhile, in Chinatown.
Yes. We've reached the dim sum place.
You have.
Yeah.
So you guys find yourself a table, I assume with a good view of who is coming and also on ulterior exits.
Yeah.
After a few minutes of being there, someone walks cautiously up to your table. They have a briefcase in their hand. And they look at the two of you and say, Mr. Finn?
The champ, but yeah, that works. You are?
It's like, I'm no one important. I was just told to give you this. And he sets the briefcase down on the table, and he turns to walk away.
You know, you should never ever say that. Everyone's important, even if they're important to the wrong people. You have a good night.
You too, sir. Smiles kind of warily at you, nods respectively to Lyric. He pulls out his phone real quick and looks at something and then puts it back in his pocket. He doesn't push any buttons like he's taking pictures or anything, but he just looks at something real quick on his phone and then he turns and leaves.
So hard to find good help these days. Something was real skittish.
He was. So you want to take a chance and make sure this isn't a bomb? Or do we leave it unviolated by our eyes?
Yeah, give it to me.
It's a rather fashionable black case. Looks brand new. If you pick it up, it is very light. It almost feels like it's empty.
Doesn't feel like a bomb. But just in case, Lyric is gonna sniff along the seam discreetly. Kind of like leans over like she's dropped something and kind of sniff along the seam and see if she picks up anything.
Smells like fresh leather. That is real leather is notable.
She leans next to him. No bomb, but brand new. It's got that new car smell.
Okay, I suppose that makes it safe for us to transport.
Relatively safe. Yeah.
So, you guys wait there another 10 minutes or so. And you see a man enter. He speaks to the maitre d', or whatever the maitre d' would be in this place. He looks around. He kind of does a backwards head nod as his eyes land on the two of you, and then he kind of points vaguely in that direction. He's dressed pretty plainly. He's got his khaki dockers on, kind of business casual. And he starts heading that way. Don't see anything in his hands. He's not wearing a jacket, so he's definitely doesn't have like a shoulder holster or anything. He's wearing an untucked polo shirt that kind of fits him. He's got a little bit of muscle tone, but kind of leaning more towards the dad bod area. He has a big warm smile as he approaches your table.
Looks like you're just in time. How we doing?
He smiles and says, "I hear the egg rolls here are to die for."
That is, yeah, have a seat.
He pulls up a chair. Says, "I understand that we have a mutual friend who thinks that we should have more mutual friends."
Indeed. You are acquainted with someone who is equally maligned by the present state of hostilities in our small burg. I didn't get that name, by the way. You are?
My name? My name is Bill.
Okay, Bill.
Bill Smallcheck, I guess. Why not? Bill Smallcheck.
Okay, Bill. And our mutual acquaintance and your mutual acquaintance would like us to meet who you're representing. We don't have any idea who that is, so you could quite honestly lie to us and we'd be, completely gullible. But as names are for friends, I'm Seraphine. Finn to my friends, Bill.
He extends a hand.
Shakes.
He's got a good firm grip. He's warm.
Okay. Okay. So, Bill, this friend of yours, what can you tell us about him? What can you help arrange so that we might sit down and have conversations?
Well, I've been instructed to offer you assurances of your safety if you would like to meet. She does request that you come to her, however. She understands where that might be a little off-putting, going into her territory, not knowing her at all. As far as a name, she has a few that she prefers to go by, and she did not actually instruct me which to give you, so that is something you'll have to work out with her.
Well, you give us a hint, give us a location, just keep things above board. As the fact that we are here, waiting patiently, as per our own reasons, we have every intention of following through with what we set out for ourselves, and we are above board, meaning that I am above board. I can only speak for myself. My loyal, lovely partner here has her own agency and is here predominantly, as far as you're concerned, for moral support. Your business is with me, okay?
All right, that is fine with me. She wishes to meet you in her abode in Brooklyn. I can certainly take you there, or if you'd prefer to delay, I could give you a contact number. We could set it up later.
No.
She did find it. She did find it curious, however. She had reached out to you once before and had heard nothing.
And this mystery partner of yours, is her name Caroline?
No. I am not affiliated with Miss Birch at all.
Okay. She reached out before. We live in very difficult times. It's hard to say who has reached out to whom and whether the message has even been received. So, I, however, don't have a problem with us doing this as quickly as possible, because haste is of the import.
I see. And this is all of you? Because I had conflicting reports that there would be 2, but she seemed to think there would be 3.
That's interesting. She has more information than I clearly do.
She does like to stay abreast of current information, or current affairs.
As do we all. Unfortunately, information is in an all-time low. Taking it that you are mentioning Penelope, the driver.
I'm afraid I wasn't given a name. Blonde woman? I believe she did have some automotive interests, yes. Will she be joining us, or have you all parted ways?
I can't honestly answer that question. I am not of a mind to make a motion on that one way or the other. If it is a make or break situation, if you give me the address to which we are heading, I could make arrangements for someone to meet us there. And if they come, they come, but at least, keeping everything above board.
He sets his phone on the table, says, would you like me to contact her? I would have to get authorization to set up 2 separate meets.
It really wouldn't be 2 separate meets, would it? If you're expecting her to be here for us to go there, you can call her, give her the address, and if she shows up, she shows up. If she doesn't, that is entirely what it is.
Lyric, under the table, out of view, will squeeze Finn's knee lightly, sliding on towards herself. She puts Penny's number in and then slides it back. Is your car outside?
I could have a car outside if you give me a short time. I actually took the subway here.
I like the subway. I don't like the subway out to Brooklyn. It takes too fucking long. 45 minutes if we're lucky and no one throws themselves in front of the train, or God forbid is running on fucking time for once. I don't like that we need to, as you know, denizens of this lovely city, rely on a system that, while doing the impossible, does it relatively willy-nilly.
It lets me catch up on my reading.
There's that.
So should I make this call before we go?
Sure.
He nods and he picks up the phone. And he dials. And Penny, as you stand in the shadows, you feel your phone ring or vibrate or however you have it set.
Penny will frown a little bit and look at the number that is calling from.
I guess it would be an unknown number. It does not say spam likely.
Well, that's a plus. But they can leave a voicemail like any reasonable human being.
And they will do so. The voicemail, for your future reference and for those sitting at the table as it is left, is that, "Hi, Penny. My name is Bill. I am sitting with some of your friends, and apparently we have some mutual acquaintances. I was hoping to speak to you and perhaps rejoin you with your mutual friends and perhaps take you to meet one of my friends who would like to also be a mutual friend." He stops for a minute, kind of frowns as he thinks about how that all came out. He's like, "Sorry for the rambling, but I'm sure you can puzzle it out. If you could give me a call back at this number at your earliest convenience, thank you." And he hangs up. And then you have a voicemail.
Penny will listen to it. Just have this odd look on her face as people walk by like, oh, what? But she will call back.
While he is waiting to call back, he sends a text message to arrange for a car. He will pointedly put the phone down on the table so anyone who wants to see what he's typing can if they make a little effort. Trying to foster some trust. Then the phone rings, and he just hits the button to answer it on speaker and says, "Hello, this is Bill."
Good evening, Bill. This is Penny. You called?
I did call. I am setting up a meeting between some of your friends. You're on speaker. Say hello, friends. Perhaps they're being shy. Anyhow, we are going to go meet a friend of mine who would like to be a friend of yours. If you would like to join us, I can have you picked up.
Or if you could provide an address, I can provide my own transport.
I would need authorization on that. I can tell you where we are now if you'd like to meet us.
That will do.
He will rattle off an address, tell you that it is a restaurant in Chinatown, which the storyteller does not remember the name of, but Bill does.
Penny will arch an eyebrow that no one can see at that. Delightful. I shall be there shortly.
Excellent. We will await your arrival. We should have a car here by then.
She will wander on over to her building and grab one of her motorcycles.
And he hangs up. Well, she seems lovely. Is there anything I can get you all while we wait?
Nah, don't trouble yourself. Let me treat you. After all, you are doing us a considerable favor, potentially. Just in not who you know, it's how you know them sort of situation.
Oh, she's a wonderful lady. She has changed my life in so many ways.
Yeah, you seem a little bit chipper. What do you like? This is one of the best dim sum places in New York, actually. It's not the best on Doyer Street, but it's pretty good. It's a lovely dumpling place not far, if that's more to your liking.
Well, what do you recommend?
Well, have you ever had dim sum?
Well, of course.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of folks never leave their 4-block life. So do you like it with its usual spice, or do you want something a little milder? It's what do you typically like in regards to dim sum?
I consider myself rather adventurous, Mr. Finn. Or no, you said your name was... You gave him your actual name, didn't you?
Yes.
So he will use that instead. Say, I consider myself rather adventurous. Why don't you surprise me? I'm sure it will be fine.
Sounds like a plan. You don't got any allergies,
The
do
chicken feet.
I wasn't quite gonna go that far, but you don't have any allergies, do you?
None that I'm aware of.
Actually, we'll get you some steamed pork ribs, chicken feet with sticky rice with lotus leaf. I hear the pork sumai is to die for. I'm not, even during other days, I wasn't really a big fan of pork. But now here's the thing: they make these tower root dumplings that got a great little crunchy outside, and unlike most places, it's not stuffed with ground pork or shrimp, but they use this it's not tuna. It's tuna, but it's like wrapped inside the beef inside of the tower root dumpling. It is absolutely to die for. And then you can go, of course, wash that down with some of the pan fried turnip cakes. It is, well, look, you'll enjoy. So make the order. And even though I didn't mention it, I'll also add a little fried sticky rice and stuffed eggplant, so that you have something a little blender to wash it down with. And just because I like the scent of it, not that I will actually touch it, I'm going to get some of the Chinese donut noodle rolls and kick myself internally because I can't have any.
He looks rather pleased with all this. He's a very chipper individual.
It's almost worth the risk to try some of the egg tarts, only because I'm a fan of pastries.
As the food arrives, he says that it's a small compensation, but at least you will get to see him enjoy the food. And he thanks you profusely.
Don't mention it.
This will be about the same time that Penny pulls up and presumably enters the restaurant.
She does. But she will remain over by the door.
So you might not see it immediately, but you do see Penny enter.
Nudge. Rick. If they have a relationship.
shall I go fetch her?
I'd just wave over.
Pennies, your companions, such as it were.
He will nod in acknowledgement, but just wait by the door.
Bill will notice that you guys are kind of looking at the door. He will turn around with his mouth full and look and speak with his mouth full and say, "Is that her?"
I'll have to say from this distance, but yeah, it should be.
He waves over a server and asks if he can get the rest of this to go.
Go ahead, take care of the bill. Standard 40% gratuity.
Well, they really like you. It's like me buying a beer at a gig. Anyway, so he will stand up with his armload of styrofoam containers and those little boxes that you only get at Chinese restaurant.
Yes, those lovely, lovely glasses. They don't have staples in them anymore.
Which is a plus. And he will advance and say, "I assume you are Penny?"
Or so I'm told.
He will smile warmly and try to balance everything in one arm and extend his hand to you.
She will extend her hand as well. Do you need some help carrying that?
"Oh no, I got it." He'll shake your hand. It's much the same. He's got a firm grip and he is warm. And he'll say, "Well, shall we then?"
Indeed. Shall I follow?
I mean, you could if you want, but we'd hate to lose you on the bridge.
Oh, I doubt that's an issue.
He shrugs and says, "Good, Lear."
There kind of chuckles and leans near Bill. Have you ever seen the movie Tokyo Drift?
From the Fast and Furious, right? That was the one that didn't have Vin Diesel in it.
Yeah, basically. He kind of nods towards Penny. Don't worry about it.
Says, "All right, well, you have my number if you get lost."
Of course.
Lead everyone out. You'll have to go around the block, but there is a car waiting. It is also a limousine, but go ahead.
She'll follow with her bike. Just kind of puttering along until they get to where they're going.
All right, so you will cross the bridge into Brooklyn. You will not go very far into Brooklyn, but you will pull up in front of a building, which I have a picture of.
Joined within the well against the wind. Children
On the car ride, Rick kind of looks at Finn. It's turning into something of a habit. These trips across the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So you will pull up in front of that building that I have put in live play chat, which is a stylized picture of an actual place in Brooklyn called Church of the Redeemer.
Oh, that's always fun.
It is an actual abandoned church in Brooklyn. Look, I'm using something from the real world. It does not quite look like that building, but I wanted it to look cool and ominous, so it does look like that building in our world.
Good deal.
Does the church look like the one from the drawing?
Yeah.
Where you were going in game, yes. In the real world, it is not quite as scary looking.
Well, with the right light. Because, you know. We're not talking
Well,
about.
I meant the crayon drawing that the girl drew, not
It's hard to tell because it's, the crayon drawing was crude, but it could be. Like, it has the dual steeples and all that, like that one does.
That's what kind of gives Lyric pause. As they're getting out, she kind of freezes for a second, stares at it real hard, then looks at Finn, and then back at the church.
As you guys slide to a halt in front of the church, there's a man there with another man. They're both wearing suits and earpieces. They look very much like security. One of them will open the door, and as you get out, they will politely indicate before they actually do it that they need to pat you down.
Okay. She don't carry any weapons, and no offense. For you to do your job effectively, you're gonna be touching some relatively intimate areas. Should you kindly not do that? I'm sure she wouldn't mind raising her shirt to show you that she's not carrying. As you can see, we don't have any underarm inside holsters. And as far as blades, I got a pocket knife. You want it?
They will want to see it, provided that it isn't super large pocket knife. They don't really care. They will try to be as respectful as possible about the pat down, but they will kind of shrug and be like, "I'm just doing my job, dude."
You know, that's exactly what the German nationalists said as well.
Depends on how tight Lyric's clothing is. I mean, if her pants are tight enough that she isn't concealing a gun or something without it being obvious, then they won't, pat her down there. So lifting the shirt might be enough.
Yeah, she wears like kind of stretchy jeans, and they're pretty much painted on. So she will, though, she'll like scrunch her shirt up to about just under bra level and very slowly turn so that they can see there's nothing at her waistband.
I, as the storyteller, am relatively sure that none of you really carry any weapons, but they are not, so they're just checking for security purposes. Penny, you'll get the same treatment. If you're wearing baggy clothes, they'll need to frisk you, but if you are wearing tight clothes and they can see that you're not concealing a gun or a bomb or something.
The baggiest thing she has on is her jacket.
So they will either feel around under your jacket or ask you to take it off so they can make sure there's nothing in it or under it.
She'll take it off. Where should I park my bike? Or is there valet parking?
Bill will hold out his hand and says, "I can park your bike."
She will drop the keys in his hand.
Sorry about that. I was answering a question. All right. He will take the keys. He will fire up your bike, and he will go around the corner with it.
And he will gesture towards the door. Shall we? Can't hear you.
Rick, after you.
He smiles and heads towards the door. Not like at a skip, but kind of like bouncy steps, and her braids kind of swinging against her back behind it.
So the security will follow you. One of them will open the door and politely motion for you guys to go ahead and enter. As you do, neither of them will follow, but they will close the door behind you. The church itself is very clearly abandoned. It is scarcely lit by some candles, kind of in little candelabras here and there. It's enough light for you to see where you're going, but it does leave a lot of shadows. You do see behind the raised area at the front of the church that there is a door open and there is more light coming from there. As you cast your eyes around, you don't actually see anybody. But being kindred, not seeing anybody doesn't mean that there isn't anybody.
It typically means just the opposite, usually.
There are some scattered papers, some broken glass. Like I said, it's very clearly an abandoned sort of area. But someone is using it.
Well,
Anything you... Alright, where are you guys going? To the door behind the altar?
Yep.
Alright, so you step into the door behind the altar. There is a small little room. Looks like it might have been a priest's office at one point. There is a couple chairs that are kind of stacked on top of each other in the corner. There is a desk that has been pushed to the side. Some garbage on the floor and whatnot. Old papers. There is another door that is a door has steps leading down.
And I was thinking of poem. Awaking. I definitely don't feel like awaking right this moment. Follow it down.
All right, so you guys head down the steps. It is dark on the stairwell. You hear some sounds in the distance, like a dripping, kind of a scratching sort of sound, kind of a paranoia walking into the dark in an abandoned building sort of sounds. You're not sure how many of them are real or how many of them are your mind fucking with you. As you get to the bottom of the stairwell, there is another door, and you push it open, and you enter into another small room. It is lit a little better with candles around the edges. There is some sort of like mini altar in place there, and then there are like two doors on either side, like to the left or the right. And as you step into the room and look around, you notice a figure that just kind of seems to appear out of nowhere. A second here. This figure is a small woman. Sorry, wasn't holding the button. Small woman. She's short, maybe about 5'2". She has brown hair and extremely pale eyes. And she regards all of you quietly. Her skin is very pale. And again, I have a picture. I'll drop it in chat here. I would say minus the bloodstains, but no, not minus the bloodstains. That's pretty much exactly what she looks like.
We didn't interrupt your meal, did we?
She looks at you oddly for a moment, and then, as if she remembers that she is there with company, she smiles slowly and wipes at her chin with the back of her hand. Says, I'm sorry, I don't normally have company.
No, understandable. Neither do I.
Says, I understand that you're having problems in Manhattan.
Who isn't these days? And yes, definitively. You managed to skirt around most of it. And our mutual acquaintance Kaiser said that you might be the person in question that we should speak with. I'm Seraphin. My friends call me Finn. This is Rick. That's JJ.
Penelope, if you don't mind.
She smiles slowly. Her voice is soft but a little husky. It's got the hint of an accent. It's kind of hard to place, something European. She says, oh, I know who all of you are.
Well, you have us at an extraordinarily large disadvantage. You might be.
She drops a very formal sort of old world curtsy to you all. Says, I'm sorry. My name is Shava. She extends a very pale hand.
Stepping forward, shakes her hands. Shava, hopefully it's a pleasure for all of us involved getting to know each other the way that we are. Honesty is the, only way to build a relationship worth holding. You understand our problem. We understand your rumor and legend based on our mutual associate. So we're hoping that we can be of assistance to you so that you might be able to help us.
She smiles again. It's kind of a disconcerting thing as she bores into you with her eyes and says, oh, I think we can be of a great deal of help to one another. And with that seems like a good place to end this week's episode. Strangely enough, exactly where I wanted to be.
Crazy.
Good night.
Good
Thanks
night.
all.
Good night.